In the treacherous corridors of ancient Persian power, a young Jewish orphan rose to become the unlikely queen of the realm. But little did anyone know, Esther's ascension to the throne was only the beginning of a daring adventure that would decide the fate of her people. With cunning wit, bravery, and faith, she would outmaneuver the sinister forces of hatred and oppression, saving the Jewish nation from the brink of destruction. Join me as we unravel the thrilling tale of Queen Esther, a true heroine of the Bible, whose courage and wisdom continue to inspire generations. After the king's fury subsided, a new plan was set in motion that altered Hadassah's life forever. Once the edict was declared, they started taking the young virgins. Hadassah was taken and emerged as Esther, keeping her nationality a secret per Mordecai's instructions. Esther was not only beautiful but a woman of honor. In his quest for a new queen, the king dishonored countless young women, stripping them of their virginity and casting them aside to the rank of concubine, sex slave without the title or privileges of queen or wife. Although Esther had no control over what was happening to her, she took control of her responses with humility and grace. During the 12 months that Esther was put through the beauty treatments required, it was her character that gained the favor of those in authority. When her turn came to be brought before the king, she was allowed to bring whatever she wanted with her to garner favor. Instead of manipulation, she chose trust. She asked for nothing other than what Haggai, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the harem, suggested, and Esther won the favor of everyone who saw her. Now the king was attracted to Esther more than to any of the other women, and she won his favor and approval more than any of the other virgins. So he set a royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. And the king gave a great banquet, Esther's banquet, for all his nobles and officials. He proclaimed a holiday throughout the provinces and distributed gifts with royal liberality. Esther 2 verses 17 to 18. All this time, Esther kept her heritage a secret, as instructed by Mordecai. Soon, Esther had the opportunity to stop trouble. Overhearing two of the king's officers angrily plotting to assassinate the king, Mordecai tells Esther, who then reports it to the king, crediting Mordecai. After an investigation, the truth is confirmed, and the troublemakers are impaled. More trouble ensues due to a man named Haman, culminating in an impending holocaust. At dinner with the king, Haman speaks, "There is a certain people dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom who keep themselves separate. Their customs are different from those of all other people, and they do not obey the king's laws. It is not in the king's best interest to tolerate them. If it pleases the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will give 10,000 talents of silver to the king's administrators for the royal treasury." So the king took his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, the enemy of the Jews. "Keep the money," the king said to Haman, "and do with the people as you please." Esther 3 verses 8 to 11. Dispatches were sent by couriers to all the king's provinces with the order to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, on a single day, and to plunder their goods. Hearing the news, all the Jews began to mourn in sackcloth and ashes, including Mordecai. Esther heard of Mordecai's mourning and sent him clothes. He refused to accept them. Deeply distressed, Esther sent her attendants to find out what was troubling Mordecai and why. They returned with the entire story of Haman's plan of annihilation. Esther is painfully aware of her circumstances. Although she's the queen, it's against the law to approach the king without being summoned. The penalty for breaking this law, apart from the king's favor, is death. However, on the other hand, if she does nothing, this is what Mordecai says will happen. "Do not think that because you are in the king's house, you alone of all the Jews will escape. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther 3 verses 13 to 14. Esther responds by putting her hope in God and sending word to Mordecai for everyone to fast and pray for 3 days, saying, "If I die, I die." After 3 days, Esther courageously put on her royal robes and stood in the place where she might die. But instead of death, the king granted her favor, asking her what she wanted. With her first request, she began a masterful plan that only God could have given her. Due to God's deliverance, Haman was executed, Mordecai was honored, and the Jews were empowered to defend themselves.